The most important person in the whole wide world is you, and you hardly even know you. The most important person in the whole wide world is you. Come on, we'll show you. Let's find out more about the things you feel and do, 'cause you're the most important person in the world to you.
Hello, 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 and welcome to One4ALLisLove with Sonya Spirit, and I am Sonya Spirit, and today is a wonderful Wednesday, September 9th, 9/9/2020, and we all know that 9 is divine, which means today is a 4-day. Anyway, so today's topic is harmony and communications. Oh, give me 1 second. Excuse me. And hello, Maggie. Maggie is our parrot. Anywho, and I can't turn her off. All right, so today's, perhaps she wants to get in on harmony and communications. Listen, everything serves a purpose, okay? And once you begin accepting, or once it finally sinks in, integrates into your being that every experience serves a purpose to benefit you and, of course, all of mankind. But primarily you, because the benefit to mankind comes from our own personal growth, because it changes how we show up in the world, or how I show up in the world. So, of course, now if I show up differently, it will impact consciousness that we're all a part of, and which means it will affect everyone that shares in that consciousness, which we're all a part of. Okay? And consciousness is God. That's, consciousness, God, Allah, divine, it's the universe. Harmony. Harmony is God. Oh, my God. Harmony is God. Harmony is a perfect, it's perfect elements unfolding. See, I'm getting the music, the aspect of it, but it unfolds, of course, this beautiful music, but harmony in the universe is perfect movement. And music is perfect movement too, but that's what it is. It's perfect movement, And when I say perfect, I'm speaking God, okay? Because that's what harmony is. Harmony is a God quality, So that's what it is. So it's perfect movement. So okay, so with that in mind. Once again, like I said, once you begin to accept that every experience that you have, good, bad, or indifferent, serves a purpose to benefit you, to elevate your consciousness, to expand your consciousness, okay, to make you a better human. And, of course, as a result of you being a better human, like I said, it contributes to the collective consciousness because you will show up as a better human in the world and treat others accordingly. And people will respond to that kindness energy. Will everyone? No. But that's not our responsibility. It's not our responsibility to help everyone. It's not our responsibility to heal those who are not ready to be healed. Okay? Now, we can shower them with love, but you can't force someone to become open and receptive. That's what I mean by forcing someone to heal that doesn't want to be healed. You have to be open and receptive to divine energy guiding you in the right direction. Okay, so getting back to harmony. So, okay, you've accepted that every experience serves a purpose. So now, when you have an experience, you're less likely to react and more inclined to respond appropriately. Okay, and that takes work. That takes practice. That takes activity. Yeah, you have to do the work, and it's worth it. It's worth it. It just takes time. So for a lot of people who are impatient, and of course I was certainly one of them. But I mean, you have the experiences that teach you about being patient, and it also puts you in a position where it's your patience will be tested until you have mastered this condition or extinguished it, released it, whatever word that eradicates it for you, recycled it, because all energy just gets recycled. So basically, you've released it so that it can go on to serve a new purpose. But so that and everything, all of it takes time. Things that you want to work on. Remember, none of us are perfect, because if we were, we wouldn't be here in a physical form. We would already be on a different level, guiding, way showing. Like there are ascended master spirits that do that. Okay, but we're not going to dwell on that. At the human level, paying attention to harmony. So let me give you an example, and hopefully it'll make a little sense. So, okay, I had a trip, and my trip was based on someone else's trip, so it was contingent. And, as far as the days and times and things like that, so, and even before that, let me just show you how things work, and this happens to me. Okay, so my some family members wanted to go out of town, and they wanted me to keep their house. No problem. Okay, so I thought about it, and I was like, oh, why are people traveling during the coronavirus? During a pandemic. And all of this is internal, so this is what I'm saying to myself. And no sooner than I said it, shortly thereafter, it was like, are you afraid? And it wasn't judgmental, but, you're displaying fear. Are you afraid? And I thought about it, I was like, no. It's like, so what's the concern here? And there wasn't one, I don't act foolishly, but at the same time, if a situation arises by me being in harmony, it's something I'm supposed to experience. But I'm also observing how I'm experiencing it now. Okay, so, when asked to house sit, to keep the house, and the thing that came to my mind is I didn't have a problem with it, but the first thing that came to my mind is the pandemic. And I've discussed on this show several times about not living in fear. So I just thought that was interesting. And it's like, are you afraid? And I was like, no. So let's dismiss that thought. Okay, so that was one instance. And then, okay, so now the plans are made. But, so their return flight was changed. And so was mine, after, the reservations had been confirmed, this, that, and the third. And what had happened was their flight arrived exactly 1 hour before mine was to take off, okay? Now, and we had to see each other. There need to be some exchanges of things prior to me just leaving. But I said to myself that, okay, well, self being, internal, spirit, whatever you want to call it. So anyway, so I said to myself, okay, these reservations have changed, okay? So I know everything serves a purpose. So I'm like, okay, and, my whole thing is to be in harmony, which means I have to be open and receptive to understand what's happening, or, one interpretation of what's happening for me. So, I kind of just, meditated on it a little bit. And the thing was, it's like, okay, harmony, do you have faith in harmony? And of course, yes, I want to be in harmony, but I don't want to waste money on airplane tickets, not either. But I know now is a good time to fly because they're most accommodating, the airlines now, because of the lack of activity. But anyway, but my concern is, but I also want to get home too. So they changed my reservation. They pushed mine up. They pushed theirs down. We're not on the, we're not even coming from the same places or whatever. But anyway, and I realized, I was like, okay, so this is what comes to mind: harmony. This is a exercise on harmony. Are you willing to participate? This is basically what's coming to me. Are you willing to participate? And I said, of course. Of course I'm willing to participate. So and that was it. So these are thoughts, but these are not like, really heavy thoughts, but they do come to me and they do stick. So, but I didn't think any more of it. Okay, until it got closer to time for, me to return back home and for them to arrive back home. So, they would arrive and I would leave. And but at no time did, I panic or anything like that. And to make it even more interesting, all of the flights that were available after the flight that they bumped mine up to, of course, they had layovers. Mine was the only direct flight for the rest of that evening. So, of course, there was no way I was going to change it, because who wants to spend an extra 4 hours traveling around at someone else's airport? No, thank you. That's what it boils down to. So I said, of course, I'm up for the experience, and it's on harmony. So, and besides, I want more of that feeling. I want to understand how it works, and, so I can pass it on, at least my experiences anyway. So, like I said, I didn't think any more of it until the day of travel was just Tuesday. So this just happened, and so I didn't think any more of it until Labor Day. But it wasn't stressful thought. It was almost like, this is how you're going to do it, So you're going to park, their vehicle in short term, and you're going to go to baggage claim. You're going to meet them there, and and then, we'll have our meeting, so to speak, and then I'll leave. Now, the thing is, there's a couple of things that were also in play, but it's part of harmony. It's all of the ingredients are part of harmony. So what does that mean? First of all, it was a small airport. Okay, so that means not a lot of traffic. People already are not doing a whole lot of traveling. So small airports already let they have lightweight traffic, probably just for special events. But anyway, and the other thing was, I have, TSA pre-check or whatever it's called. And so there's almost like no one in those lines now. Anyway, so those two things were also working for me. So, so that factored in. And then, of course, it was just like, do this, and this is what's going to happen. Don't worry about it. And that's what I did. I did not worry about it. But there was a time when a past Sonya would have not trusted it, or I don't want to have to pay more money. I would have been worrying about all the wrong things. What if this goes wrong? That's not harmony. When you start entertaining all the what ifs, you're second guessing your initial feeling or inspiration. And so you can't, you can't entertain that. So anyway, there was a lot of it was successful. The whole thing executed just as it unfolded in my mind. So just so that I don't take credit for it, but as it unfolded in my mind. Now, mind you, I know people saying, so what? This is not a big deal. You're right. It's not a big deal. However, there was a time when I would have responded differently, and certainly not more positive. And if nothing else, I may have gone with the flow, but I would have been nervous and really, I would have had nervous energy, which to me is second guessing. It's an expression of a lack of faith. Okay, so I said I wasn't going to worry about it, and it unfolded. But this is important for me because I've mentioned for a long time that harmony is a big deal to me. Harmony, love, truth, wisdom. Appreciation. Anyway, but the message is important. So there's always messages. So it goes actually a little further back, because last week I had ran across this movie that I've seen once before, and I had read the book prior to that. It's titled Celestine Prophecy, and it's about these 9 insights, and it's a spiritual book, but it's a novel. So, but it's it's very interesting for if you are on a spiritual path, okay, and in my opinion, it talks a lot about harmony without actually using the word harmony, because basically, it's saying the same thing, that everything happens for a reason. Things unfold in your life. How you choose to perceive it, how you choose to pursue it or not pursue it, of course, will determine the outcomes. Will you learn from this experience? Will you grow from this experience? Will you better the rest of mankind or the rest of, the human race, because you have become a better person as a result of it? Or will you harbor some resentment or ill will or being vindictive or resentful, or, and all of that energy antagonizes the collective conscious. And of course, it creates and adds to a disease state for our collective conscious, which, when you think about, the coronavirus, it's a pandemic. So it's, in my opinion, it's a disease state of our collective conscious. It's an expression of a disease of our collective conscious, because it has the potential to affect everyone. Okay, it has the potential to affect everyone quickly. Anyway. But the thing is about, I've spoken on it, but it's to not, you not live in fear, not to give in to that energy, but you have to practice being present. You have to you have to get to know yourself, because as you get to know yourself, you also get to know God. Now, you can also choose to get to know God, and you'll still get to know yourself. Either way. Okay, it's going to take you to where you want to go, but you have to put forth the effort. It's a relationship. It really is a relationship, and everything isn't about walking around with flowers and bald heads or whatever preconceived notions folks might have of being on a spiritual path. But it is a relationship, and we're to the point now in the age of Aquarius where our relationship with the absolute, with God, with the all, is what's going to save us. That's what's going to save us as we get to know ourselves and love ourselves and know God and truly, well, not truly, but the best we can understand God, and to the point where revere, not fear, okay, in awe of, reverence, not fear God. God is not a punishing God, okay? God is all about balance and harmony. So when there is disharmony, there is a process of a restoration or reconciliation to bring nature back to its peaceful or restful state, or whatever vibratory state it is. I don't want to say restful because people think not moving, but okay, so anyway. So excuse me. I apologize. But the important thing here to understand is that there is messaging. There is always messaging, okay, whether you recognize it or not. It's all about how you interpret it. It's all about your perception and putting forth a conscious effort to want to expand your consciousness. Just because you are limited doesn't mean you have to stay that way, okay? We can free ourselves from this prison with the help of God once we go inside and start communing, becoming the oneness. When you start communing with God, that's what's going to change, and it's not going to happen overnight, but it will be more rapidly than it has been in the past. But it's not going to change overnight. But we are going to have to forgive and release and focus on being better individuals so that we can add to the collective conscious so that we can all benefit as a community, sharing in the same consciousness. Because consciousness is God. That was, remember, universal law number 1 that we talked about last week. Consciousness is God. Consciousness is the only energy that's infinite. Well, I don't want to say only energy, but God is consciousness. So it's infinite. All other energies goes through transformations. Now, from a human perspective, our consciousness will go through a transformation because we're trying, those of us who are trying, but, we should all want to aspire to higher vibratory levels. And once again, that requires practice. It requires you doing the right thing. You can't change anyone else. And if they're not open and receptive to change, then you have to make a decision. Will you continue to try to penetrate this person or help heal this person, or just cast the net to be supportive and encouraging of this person while they try to get themselves together? Passing no judgment. If you take on that responsibility, then that's what you have to do, pass no judgment. I'm not talking about supporting people and and preaching to them and trying to get them to see things your way, because your way worked well for you. Your way may not necessarily work well for someone else. The most we can do is share our experiences, like when I was telling you about my experience with harmony or understanding harmony, being awakened to the experience and actually kind of being observing as well as participating. Practice that, okay? But this is how beautiful life is. Okay, but what I was saying is, but I'm merely sharing my experiences with you, and hopefully it provides some substance that you find of value. And if you don't find it of value, then maybe a seed was planted, or perhaps it just wasn't, nothing was there for you regarding that. Okay? However, maybe there's something else that you're supposed to get out of the experience. Each experience is personal to that particular soul or individual. Like I said, with experiences, there can be multiple people sharing in the same experience, and they will grow differently. They will integrate different aspects differently, or they may reject the whole experience in turn if it requires them to make an effort on their part. Some people are not comfortable with change. They're just not. And some people are not comfortable with community or cooperation. They like confrontation and combativeness. I don't mean healthy challenges that are like lessons that we have in life that are supposed to teach us to learn and grow. Some people, they cling to the negative because that may be what's in their DNA, and it continues to be their life experiences. So in terms of programming, it is all that they know. This is why mental health counseling is so important. People just need to understand themselves better. As you understand yourself better, I told you, charity begins at home. Everything begins within. As you understand yourself better, you will know God better. Okay? You will have a greater understanding of spirit. And you will, of course, reflect that in your persona, how you show up, persona, how you show up in the world, how you respond to experiences. Now, they won't all be smooth because we're a work in progress. So as we master and integrate qualities and learn and grow, the challenges we face will become greater, not more painful, because those two are not synonymous. It feels that way in the beginning because a lot of the growth is painful, because we have to shake loose a lot of our thinking, the thinking that's and feeling that's holding us prisoner, that's keeping us captive and reducing us just to this human being or this physical substance, when we are infinite through the consciousness of our mind that is the light of God that shines in all of us. What we do with that light is our choice. Free will. It is our choice. So whatever package we come in, okay, this package is previous experiences and current exposure. However, you have the power to change any condition in your life immediately or in time as harmony or the universe unfolds. We have the power, but we have to understand it. We have to know how to use it. So that we can exercise good in the world. We have to practice not being good. And if you want to practice being good, then practice being good. For me, the path is, I'm big on understanding, which, of course, that's what know thyself is all about. You know, who am I? What am I? You know, life is, when you examine it, even as growing up through life, not recognizing or identify as being a spiritual being, you know, I could still see that life was interesting. And on the surface, it appears to be unfair and uncaring and harsh. And if you don't, you know, and you could be a victim, it's dog eat dog. If you're not defending yourself, then you could get gobbled up. You know, that's the way it appeared. And initially, that's what I saw, but something told me that there was more to it than that. And I think a lot of it for me was messaging. Of course, you know, I'm a Gemini, so I'm born in the sign of Mercury. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, which is the sign of communications. Okay? And it's the twins. So we got the whole duality, polarity thing going. Which for me, yes, it could be an adversity. It could be a detriment. But it is also a very beautiful. And if you can see the beauty and the qualities that you possess, then you don't concern yourself. You won't fall victim to, you know, the negative components. Focus, remember that universal law number 4, the law of polarity, okay? Whatever it is that you're experiencing that you do not enjoy, it has an opposite that you would enjoy. Focus your energy on that and materializing that and embodying that and feeling that and emitting that. Integrate that, okay? It takes effort. But once you know what you want, okay, when I say that, you know, when I first started out, especially discovering that, okay, the mind, you can have anything you want, the mind. Of course, initially I gravitated towards material thought because that's where I was at that time when I was introduced, was material thought. But it didn't take long for me to realize that that was not the best use of this power. That's not really where I want to be. I don't want to collect. I mean, then what's the difference between just that and getting a high-paying job and just buying a whole lot of material stuff? Really nothing. So if you become cognizant of a power or energy that you possess that can not only change your essence and being, but can contribute to making the world a better place, listen, you forget about fashion and the newest, latest, hottest car and a big fat house with all the accoutrements with the quickness. Because what you're weighing here is the micro versus the macro. The micro comes to mind immediately. Don't, it's going to happen. Don't harbor on it, and don't beat yourself up because that was your initial thought. Just like about the trip, my initial thought was there's a pandemic. Why are people traveling? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, hey, are we giving in to fear now? No. And so it's the same thing. We're not giving in to fear, okay? We're not giving in to fear. And I also lost my train of thought before the piece on talking about the trip. But where I'm going with this is harmony and communications. Yes, and I did lose my train of thought, but going back, it'll come back to me. But just to I do want to elaborate back to observing and participating. Okay, we can do that, like I said, and you just start with something small that, for the most part, you've had experience with in the past, so you know how you've dealt with it in times prior. And at some point in time, it registered that to you, as it registered to me, this is not appropriate behavior for someone who's on a spiritual path. And you have to stop making excuses for yourself. This is not, this is the term that I use, this is not godly behavior, okay? And I don't mean that in a sacrilegious, or that's not the word, a blasphemous way. It is not, this is not, when I say this is not godly behavior, I go back to my 3 verses that I use as affirmations. I am that I am. Be still and know that I am God. And with all things are possible with God. And all things, and that's it. That's it in a nutshell. I am that I am. With God, all things are possible. Be still and know that I am God. God is everything. God is everything. And I have that everything in me. What else do I need to keep remembering? But it's our negative programming, and that's what we're working on releasing and purging from our being, from our essence, from our aura, from our responses. Okay? And it takes practice. Okay, we have a caller. Let's see if they would like to share what's on their mind. Hello, welcome to One4ALLisLove with Sonya Spirit. And I am Sonya Spirit. And to whom am I speaking with today?
Hi, my name is Tina.
Hello, Tina. How are you?
I am fine. Thank you for having your show today. I love the affirmation. I've been doing that right now, especially today. I've been praying and resting on those affirmations. So thank you.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. Do you have any affirmations that you use regularly that you would like to share? You don't have to.
Okay, I won't share them, but I love them. I love,
Okay.
affirmations are so, I love affirmations. Are you doing readings?
No, ma'am, I don't do readings.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you.
You're
But yeah,
welcome.
affirmations are really important.
Yes, ma'am, they are. So, how long have you been using affirmations?
A few years now, because I realize it's
Okay.
important for the to program the subconscious mind. So sometimes like I'll go on YouTube and listen to some and play it while I'm sleeping.
Okay. Do you feel like you have made any changes over time?
I absolutely have, especially because like I stage and I burn frankincense and myrrh. So it's like as I do that, like sometimes I'll do that for like 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours. So that's like a form of meditation too. I've changed. And during this pandemic, it's been amazing for me. I just registered 4 businesses. I'm in school, so it's a whole nother level for me. So it's like I guard my space and I guard my energy. So between the affirmations and that, it's like we're limitless.
Oh, awesome. Well, good. You sound like you are on the right track, Tina. You say you've registered for a business and you're in school? That is awesome. That is awesome. And so
I
over
ended up,
time.
just from the affirmations, I ended up getting 5 A's too. So it's powerful.
Yes, ma'am. All right. That's what's up. That is what's up. Because it is the beauty. It is the beauty in these experiences. It is the beauty in the affirmations when you can see the results. It makes you, I don't know how it does for you, but it makes me feel like, this is worth the effort. You know what I'm saying? You can see the change. You can feel the change. And it makes you want to continue doing it because the change is something that you want more of. You want more of that goodness and that positive energy and that inspiration and that, that divine direction in your life. At least I do.
Well, the thing is that with us, God has already, He's a spirit, so we're supposed to worship Him in spirit and in truth. And it says in Isaiah 65:15 that if a man wants to bless himself, he has to speak it. So the Bible tells you that you have to speak it into existence. And words were created more for creation than communication.
Girl, you better preach.
So when you understand that we're little gods and we're speaking beings, you speak your life into existence. It's the vibration of the word. And when you understand that frequency, then you guard it. So if we would have been taught this as children, then we would have been limitless. But, it's amazing now that we're doing it as adults. So now when you guard that space, as I started, I was teaching. So it's when I started burning the frankincense and myrrh, cleaning your aura is very important because we're sensitive beings. I know, like, I'm empathic. So the more that I did that, it cleansed the energy, and then the more I said the affirmations. Like I said, it's like I'm limitless. I just even found out now that I could become a lawyer without going to law school. So I am, like, on a roll. It is like, yeah. So now, and when you do that, you call into these shows. Thank God you have these shows because you can connect with the energies with like beings. So I honor and respect you for even having that today. And then that's when the synchronicity, and you understand the law of attraction. That's why when you said that, I was like, I just was saying that today. Like, thank you. See, people don't understand that you have to rest in God. When he says, be still and know that I'm God, he means for you to rest. It's not be lazy. No, you rest on what he told us to do. So I'm resting in God. And as I'm resting in him, he's saying, you're my daughter and I trust you. So you're his daughter. So we're spiritual beings. So it's like he was like, call in. Because we're on the same frequency. Every day that you wake up, you have a choice which frequency you're going to tune into. People tune into sadness. People tune into chaos. And I also do, I have devotion every day. So I read like almost 3 Bibles. I have the 2 Bibles, and then it's like the daily walk. So my level of understanding has increased. because of the amount of words that I take in every day.
That's right. You are on your path. You have your relation. It's a relationship, and you respect your relationship, and you cultivate this relationship every day, and it is so fruitful in ways that people can't imagine. Like you said, in ways that people cannot imagine, because it's not just about accumulating things physically. Like you said, it's about tuning in and making the right choices and tuning into the right frequency, and you create the world that you live. We create that, and you've said it so. Go ahead, yes, ma'am.
No, just saying, when you meditate, you wake up the God within you. For those of us who are on a higher level, we have a higher understanding. So when you understand that, of course we have love. Of course we, understand other people. But we do the work that we came here to do. Just like Jesus said, I'm about my Father's business. When you are, right now, you are about your Father's business. Thank you. We are about our Father's business because we understand that we're spiritual beings having a human experience. So when you want to do that, you want to excel. So the Bible says in Matthew 25:15 that he gave one man 5 gifts, one man 2 gifts, and another man 1. And the one man doubled it, the 5 gifts, the 2 gifts doubled it. But the one who didn't do anything with the one who buried it, he called him wicked and lazy. Because we are supposed to, you have a responsibility. When he's saying, you said the most important thing. That's what he said to Moses, I am that I am. Moses said, who do I tell them that you are? I am that I am. So anything that you say, people who aren't conscious of their words, anything that you put after I am, you manifest.
That's right. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So it's exciting. It's exciting because we were born with everything inside of us. And in order for you to have it, when you're obedient, as you are obedient to God with righteousness and holiness, he keeps revealing it to you. So you have a conscious choice. And the enemy comes to trick people because he says in John 14, that when you follow my commandments, my Father and I will come and live in you. He said, I'm leaving, and Jesus said, I'm leaving, and the world will see me no more. But because I live, you live. And he said, I'm standing right here, but y'all can't see me.
See me, that's right.
But you see him. We see him. So I am, that I am, is obedient because it's the Spirit teaching us. He said, I left a comforter for you. So sin makes you miss the mark. And anyone who is sinning and anyone who doesn't believe, he said in Hebrews 11, it's impossible to please me without faith. So anyone who does not believe has an evil heart. That's a willful disobedience. That's willful disobedience. He didn't say explain it. He said believe. And God does not move. He said in Genesis 1:26 through 28 that, man is made in my image and likeness. He does not move until you see yourself made in the image and likeness of God. When you see yourself, that's when he moves. He don't move until you see yourself. When you see yourself, I spend a majority of my time in silence, and now I'm creating everything I ever desired. There's a vocabulary of silence.
A vocabulary of silence.
There's a vocabulary of silence. I heard you. That's why I was able to call in. Because of the vocabulary of silence. I heard you in the spirit. So when you have that understanding, there's a silence, there's a respect, there's an honor. No offense to the people doing the other stuff. That's their choice. They chose to tune into that frequency. You want to tune into that channel? So be it. I'm going to do what my Father did. And as we study him, now he downloading it. Ooh, he downloading the secrets. He downloading the strategies. But he only puts it in a pure vessel. Your vessel has to be pure. Yes. You have to be. Your spirit has to be pure. I'm abstinent. Romans 12, I beseech you, brethren, I present it as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto God. Be ye not transformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. He has rewarded me for stepping away from the world. carry you. So people want to wonder, why are people doing this? How are they being elevated? Obedience. He gave everything in the Bible. Basic instruction before leaving Earth. I read 3 of them a day. I take them in doses. What is my instruction today, Daddy? What is my instruction? I even listen to the Word of God the whole time I'm sleeping at night. My spirit don't even sleep. And that's how it keeps going.
And our spirit doesn't sleep anyway. So that is the perfect time to be feeding it.
Right, when the subconscious mind.
Yeah. The subconscious mind never sleeps. Never sleeps.
The subconscious mind. When you said I am that I am, I was like, that's it, God. That's it. I even just created God University because I study. I've always been into academia, so I equated. That's why I read the 3 Bibles now, like I would my textbooks. So I understand that in life you determine your grade, no matter what happened to you. And those of us that are chosen experience things at life early because the enemy wants to push your heart away from God. But we're gonna win. We already won. We win the day.
Yes.
In Proverbs 8:17, he said, I love those who love me, and those who seek me early shall find me. So when you wake up and you thank him and you praise him and you meditate, you already won the day.
Yes, ma'am.
But if you miss that date, if you miss that time, if you don't speak it, then you are defeated. So when I look at people, I know where their faith is, but I respect what they chose to do. If that's what you believe, then that's what you believe.
That's your choice. That's right. That's your choice. That's your choice.
You and I have tuned into the frequency of love. We've chosen to live there.
So listen. I am enjoying your speaking. Tell my audience about your God University. You mentioned the God University. I'd like to hear a little bit more about that, if you're willing to share.
I just registered Kindness Academy and God University. I created LLCs and nonprofits for both because it's kindness. Kindness is a universal language. You're being kind. You're being kind even to listen right now. And the world needs more love. And we are only alive to represent God for other people because some people aren't going to spend time with him like that, but we do. So God University, I want to explain it to people because I told you I do study like an academic. I study the word like that. I don't even brother anybody. I have a little 16-year-old that just got an attitude because he said I asked him too many questions. When we read in each scripture, I'll say, now what did Jesus mean about that? What did God mean? And he said, you asked a lot of questions.
because you want him to understand. You don't want him just looking at words. You want it to sink in and integrate and permeate. No, that's all right. Yeah. That he can comprehend.
Attitude. I just sent him over his aunt's house. So I said, you want to get upset about me asking you questions about the Bible? This is who God made me. This is serious. Because they said when you meditate on my word, I will keep you in perfect peace. So I created God University. I'm just extremely busy at this moment, but I created God University to teach others. Since I've elevated so high, I wanted to explain that to them. But again, how you do anything is how you do everything. Whatever type of student a person was in school, then that's how they're going to do it. So this is exciting for me. Reading the Bible is exciting. I read every chapter and how they don't listen, how he asks them to stop with idolatry, and he tells them to trust him. And even when he elevates the kings, they still end up falling off. You can never stop spending time with God. That's what Solomon did. He was the wisest man in the world. He said, I'll give you wisdom. But Hezekiah messed up. King Hezekiah messed up because when Prophet Isaiah was talking to him, and this is one of the real reasons I created it, when Prophet Isaiah came back and told him, he said, get ready. You're getting ready to die in 3 days. God said, get your house in order. So Hezekiah was like, what? Get ready. What? So as Isaiah was leaving from the palace, Hezekiah turned his face to the wall because he had a relationship with God. And he said, God, please don't kill me. I can't give you praise from the grave. He knew what to say to God. I gotta, please, I'll give you, I gotta give you praise. And that touched God, so God had Isaiah turn back around and tell him, God said, okay, I'm going to extend your life for 15 years. So but guess what? Hezekiah failed because they sent envoys from Babylon. And when the envoys came, they came to talk to Hezekiah, and he showed them all of his possessions. See, God is not playing. He pays attention to detail. So Isaiah said, okay, so what did you do with the envoys? And he said, I showed them everything that I accomplished. I showed them every piece was in my house. And then Isaiah said to him, because Hezekiah failed, he said, God said everything you have is going to belong to Babylon. Because Hezekiah was supposed to tell the envoys that God just spared my life for 15 years. But he failed.
Because he said, yes, because he said, how can I praise you from the grave? And then when he got the opportunity, like you said, he failed.
So that's why I wanted to break it down, because and that's what I was saying to my son, no, wait, that's powerful right there. He failed. That's not a sentence, failed. And that's why Hezekiah didn't even understand what he said when he said, one day everything you own is going to belong to Babylon. Ooh, he failed. In 2.2 seconds, you just said, I'm going to praise you.
Yep.
So that's how God looks at us. And when you look at it, it's unfair to treat God like that. So the fact that you're sitting here saying, we're saying, I am that I am, we're saying, love our Father, appreciate our Father.
Right.
No, he didn't.
Right.
He didn't raise you for chaos. He gave you the answers, and then he gave you those who gonna pray for you, those who gonna teach you. My daughters is gonna show up. My sons are gonna show up, because it says in Romans 8:19, the whole world is moaning and groaning, waiting for the manifestation for the sons and daughters of God. They waiting for our righteousness. They waiting for this right here. Because their souls, they're sin sick. It says in Psalm 1, how long will you simple people stay in your simple ways? Because he said, I'm giving you wisdom, I'm giving you wisdom, I'm giving you wisdom. I'm screaming it out in the street. He said, but when calamity comes because you have ignored me, I will laugh at you. Woo! Oh, I love the Lord, girl. I love the Lord. I love him.
Yes, and you do amazing. Yes, you do an awesome job expressing them too. Awesome.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness. So God,
yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. What were you going to say?
No, go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, I was going to say. So God University. Do you have a website, or how can anybody do? I'm still creating. I registered it, but I want to go in detail. So that's what I'm saying. So my school just started. So, and I just had the little teenager distracting me, because I'm giving him this one-on-one. You know, talking about, oh, this is too much. Talking about, Dad, you got to say something after every scripture. That's what he said. Come on. He said, okay, then I said, what do you think God, about the proverb or whatever. So I said, well, what do you think God meant? He's talking about, well, let's read. Let's see what he said. Girl, he's a fresh piece. He'll come around.
No, he's a youth pastor. He knows better. But I guess you have to understand, if you have a mother that has a clear mind, that God is going to download that to you. You know, that's what we do. He's going to download it. So yes, I just was honored that God gave that to me. I was like, thank you, God University. So during this pandemic, I've been so busy that I didn't really pay attention, because I understand. And then you read the scriptures. So you say, I'll never be sick. I'll never be in a hospital. You have to understand, you tell sickness, I don't give you authority to come near my body.
That's
you
right.
You never touch anyone in my family. You can't. So I don't think like the rest of the world. It's even in Proverbs 3, he says that if you spend time on me, if you meditate on my word and spend time with me, that I will add peace to you. I will keep you in peace, and I will add length to your days. So he wants to love us. He wants to love us.
Oh, yes.
And that's why when somebody speaks, then you know who your Father is. You know which voice to whom they're listening. Faith. the children of God, we're going to speak faith. I am that I am. I know I'm all right. Nothing would ever happen to me or my children. They're covered. That's a bold statement because when your faith is like that, you got to be careful. Some people will be angry at you because of your faith. But then they got to be careful because God is not going to allow them to distract us. We're on a roll.
Right.
So if you get mad at us, you get mad at the God in me. But you have to be careful because we're not of this world. I'm a messenger.
There you go. There you go. And that's why you can't get yes, ma'am. And that's why you can't get caught up in the mankindness of it all. You know, the physical aspect of it all. So no, listen.
It's a willful ignorance. That's a willful ignorance because they don't want to read his word. They just want to talk. They just want to complain. But you have to be careful because you're going to have to give an account for every word that comes out of your mouth.
And like you said, and it also creates as well. So you're creating your own reality. And then, of course, you have so many people who don't understand. And that was another episode, too. It was called Ignorance and Insecurity. Basically, you don't even know. Because that's what everything boils down to. In my opinion, it's all at that level, at that vibratory level. That's where people are. They're at ignorance and insecurity. And I don't mean it in a derogatory way, but because of lack of knowledge of self. You don't know about yourself. You don't have a relationship with God. Because as you get to know yourself, you will learn about God. And I said there are so many paths. Or you can focus on God, and then you'll get to know yourself. Either way, there's no right or wrong way, but it is a relationship. You do have to spend time. You do have to invest time. And it's not something that you should do reluctantly. You should want to do it. And when I say you, I'm not talking about you, but folks in general should want to do it passionately. Yes, ma'am. So, listen, and I certainly feel your passion and your fire. Oh, my goodness. Yes,
girl, I'm
ma'am.
too fiery.
Yes,
that's why
ma'am.
I try to meditate. I am too. My kids said, you're so serious. They can't take it because, we can see. When I look at a person, I can see them. In that moment, the Spirit reveals them to me. So, that's what I'm saying.
ma'am.
When you're that quiet, you can feel. And you go through things. I came from a lot of brothers and sisters. I came from a lot of that, so I know what it's like. So now that's why I value myself because I realize that it's a willful ignorance. So I'm very leery of people people are mismanaging their mind. You have over 60,000 thoughts per day. What are you feeding your spirit?
Girl,
what are you feeding yourself? It's a mental diet, and then you have to be careful because you have spiritually people immune system. They're not spiritually together. And then you have to be careful listening to people. I guard the God in me because people have STDs, spiritually transmitted diseases. So you're not giving me you're not transferring no STD to me. Those are spirits. You have to be careful because you're not even supposed to have a conversation with the devil. Those are spiritually transmitted diseases. And there's also a book by Napoleon Hill called Outwitting the Devil. And it's free on YouTube for 3 hours,
ma'am.
3 hours and 49 minutes. And he says that only 2 out of 100 people have definiteness of purpose. He said the other 98 belong to me. He said, so as long as I can get you to drift, and he said, as long as I get you to drift, I put you on hell on earth. So they in hell on earth. So
you are exactly right. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Yeah, they in hell. They in hell. You create the heaven or hell within you. You and I are in heaven. Because we were created. Your mind is the Garden of Eden. And every environment we go.
No, I was just
every
saying,
environment that we go.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
No,
because
every environment.
Okay,
but every environment we go in, we have a responsibility to transform it into the Garden of Eden. You walk with joy.
Ma'am.
You walk with love. You walk with purpose. You walk with God. You change the environment.
Okay, Miss Tina, I'm going to have to cut you off there. Good God, sister, I am loving you. I am loving you. And I know this was divine. Listen, I want my audience to understand the subject was harmony. The universe sent this sister, and she laid it out. And she said a lot of words that I've used, like the 60,000 thoughts that we have a day. Girl, you better preach. So for joining the show, please feel free to call in. As you continue to work on your God University and Kindness Academy, I would love to hear more about it. So please call in or please reach out to me on Facebook, Sonya Spirit. I really appreciate you calling in today. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your week, sister. Okay, I love you and keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. God bless you. May you be, and I pray that you are restored 1 billionfold for all that you put out. In Jesus' name.
Thank you, sister. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of the show. Miss Tina did her thing. Thank you for listening. And tune in next week where we will talk more about One4ALLisLove and this path, the spiritual path that we are on. Enjoy your week. Until next week, I love you and goodbye.